even if it's hard to take. One moment is enough. I will be standing here right by your side. I will be standing here till the end of time. I will be standing here all through the night, till the stars align. A little lighter over time. Yes, it's true, I'm falling hard for you, but I won't rush this love. I can wait even if it's hard to take. One moment is enough. I will be standing here right by your side. I will be standing here till the end of time. I will be standing here all through the night, till the stars align. Standing here till the end of time. I will be standing here all through the night. I will be standing here till the stars align.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Unfan Podcast and welcome to another match reaction. Welcome to a live match reaction, should I say. We had a away day, of course it was a video last weekend, not quite the sort of video I wanted to make, not the quite positive match reaction that I wanted to make as an away trip to Cheltenham ended obviously with us losing 1-0 as Oxford United. However, today it set it up back-to-back, or the first of back-to-back home games. We played against Gillingham, who currently, before this game, are currently sat at, I believe, in 19th position. Didn't have a great start to the season, or haven't had a great start to the season. And today, travelled to the Kassam against Oxford. And I think, to be honest, we'll probably take a really, really interesting 1-1 draw. Well, I'll go through my notes and we'll go through the game as it goes as well. Remember, if you can join in live as well, you give your thoughts whether you're at the game, watching the game, following it. I want to hear from you, and you can give your thoughts in the live chat. I'll be reading out all of those thoughts as per usual. But like I said there, Gillingham probably went to the game today thinking, well, we haven't had a great start to the season, but really Oxford have dropped some stupid points, some silly points. They probably felt that they could be winning as well, and probably so have we. I think we'll definitely take a point, and we could maybe even snatch a win. They didn't go and do that, of course, but on Oxford United's point of view as well, we really knew that we needed to win this game. It wasn't almost a must-win. It sounds stupid after 8 or 9 games, but you still felt that Oxford really sort of really quite would have liked to get a win, especially at home. Back obviously we've got Accrington on Tuesday, and then we've got two really difficult away trips against Sheffield Wednesday and against Sunderland. So these next two games are very, very important, and if you get 6 points and then you play against the two away games, you can probably get away with knowing you're probably going to lose at least one of those games and maybe get a point against the other. Then you look at these 4 games in that sort of block of 4 and you think that's a fairly good amount of points to be getting. You draw against Gillingham, you definitely need to beat Accrington, because again those two away trips, like I've already said, are very, very hard, and we didn't do that. We did get the draw. We didn't get the win though, and it's quite a confusing game to come away from, really. And if you could describe it, and if you could say, Jack, describe this game in one word, my reaction really would be confusing. Quite a confusing game of football. One of those games where you walk away and you walk out the ground going, I've got to do a podcast on this. How am I going to sort of describe this and break it down? It's not easy. It really, really is not easy. And it's one of those where I go, what's my initial reaction? It's actually confusion. It is actually confusion. And I'll sort of, the reason why, and I'll explain why I think it is that. But it was quite a confusing game. When you come away from it, you do have that felt that overwhelming feeling of quite sort of baffled by what I've just watched. Ultimately, it was much improved. And what we needed to see was a reaction, and what we needed to see was a bit of a response from the game against Cheltenham. Definitely a response. Players coming over, the boos at full time, and having, like I said, sites come over, and I caught it on camera, coming over and apologising to the fans. I think there was clear sort of sense of uncertainty around the fans and around the response around the football club, and that needed to be resolved and sorted out. Matthew Bell's a disappointing result, but other results went our way. It's still all to play for the season, and that's exactly. And Matthew's spot on as well. But the point we've got is a lot of teams are also dropping points, but then so are we as well. We're sat here going, well, Charlton drew against whoever they drew against. Jack's completely forgot on the top of my head. It'll come to me in a second. Portsmouth, there it is. I believe it's Portsmouth. And then you've got Sheffield Wednesday drawing against Ipswich. But then you've got those fans probably going, well, Oxford have just drawn at home to Gillingham. So, we're saying results gone our way and we're thinking like that, but they're definitely going to be thinking about that towards us as well. So you've got to remember that. You make a great point, Matthew. It is very, very tight. We're still only I think it's 2 or 3 points away from the top 6, and it is only after 9 games or so it doesn't matter. But it is very, very tight, and there is still so much to play for. But these are games you've got to be winning. And no disrespect to Gillingham. We've had a Gillingham fan come in before I started the stream. It was Elijah, who says, really hoping we can win. But I think he said there that he thinks Oxford United will edge it. I mean, obviously they didn't. I don't know disrespect to Gillingham at all, but they definitely came here looking to get a point. I was there, I watched the game, and their goalkeeper was wasting time, and he got booked for it in the end. And we know how Steve Evans is going to play. We know the sort of manager he is. He does tend to play on that sort of interesting end of interesting way of football. He plays a very, very unique style. Some would class it as dull and boring. I probably wouldn't say it was go that far. I wouldn't say. I think every manager has a style and has their own unique style. Steve Evans has his own unique style for sure. He definitely tends to grind out results and try and play on sort of the dark side of football at times. Of course he does. But at the same time, he gets points, and he got a point today. Maybe some Gillingham fans will disagree with me there and say that at times they really wish that he didn't play like that, and I completely understand it. I don't think I would want to sit through that every week for sure. But ultimately, however you look at it, they came to the Kassam today, they came to Oxford United, and they won. And they drew the game, and that's just the way it is, and that sometimes is quite difficult to take. But it's clear how they wanted to play, and clear how they set up. And it's clear how they were well organised and well drilled, because they were really, really well organised. And that's what's happened. We needed a goal for Taylor, I think, as well. And exactly, and I'll come to that as well. That Matty Taylor goal is very, very important. It's a massive confidence boost for him. He had a few chances after that as well. I think he hit the bar/post. He had a few, balls into the box that maybe he maybe thought that he could maybe get a second, or I don't think he'd get a hat trick from those chances, but maybe even a second. But a very, very good ball from Herbie came through the middle in the first 4 minutes of the game, and a really good finish. And Matty Taylor, again, we've never doubted that Matty Taylor's a bad finisher, that he's a good finisher. No one said he's a bad finisher. He's always a very, very good. He's always going to be a very, very good finisher. I'm sure he is. I do sometimes feel at times he is sort of losing that sort of edge of that pace, but again, what is he, 31, 32 years old now? That of course is going to go away, and I'm sure Matty Taylor will probably agree with that himself, and probably not be too offended by me saying that. He is that sort of player that is still relying on getting into those chances and still tucking them away with his fantastic finishing ability. And we know he has still got that. And I mean, it does come down again. So ultimately, we need to be ruthless. We need to take our chances. I think Karl Robinson said it himself after the game, and that was a much improved interview, by the way. That interview against Cheltenham was worrying, where he said that we were high performance, low reward. That worried me a lot. I think if that was what he thought, I think we were in a bit of a bother more than what we thought ultimately, because I think we were very, very poor against Cheltenham. I'd say abysmal against Cheltenham, and then we've sort of been pretty poor against AFC Wimbledon as well. We looked okay against Wycombe, probably got a deserved point, but today we were definitely much improved. I mean, we were much improved in Cheltenham. It wasn't hard. I think against Cheltenham, like I said, we were horrific. But there were still issues. I think I heard someone saying it was on the radio. I think he described the performance as phenomenal and incredible. I think they were the actual words he used. Don't quote me on that. You can go back and listen to it on the radio. I believe you can go back and listen to his reaction. I get it. That's his opinion, and I respect everyone's opinion. Everyone's got an opinion. That's why this football podcast is what it is. I have an opinion. I say my opinion. You can disagree or agree with me, and that's the whole point of it. At the same time, though, I don't think that was a phenomenal / incredible performance, if I'm being honest. If that's a phenomenal, incredible performance, then I dread to think what he would see as a phenomenal, incredible performance, and what I'd see him describe as Cheltenham. Maybe he thought that Cheltenham was a good performance, or maybe a decent performance. I thought it was a horrific performance. So maybe those levels are different. But like I said, an opinion's an opinion. He thinks that was a phenomenal / incredible game of football from an Oxford perspective. I'm not entirely sure. We did just draw a game at home where a lot of expectation was to win the game. We could have won the game. We had penalty shouts. We had big chances. We had 27 shots, 70% possession. Of course we did. We dominated the game, but at the same time, we didn't win it. So, we can go, performances are one thing, and it's great to see these performances, and it's good to see performances, and then if we can build on that and get results, then that's a very, very positive place to be, probably the best place to be as a football club. However, and there's a big however to this, at the end of the season, when you look at that league table, are we going to be in the top 6? Are we going to, where are we going to be? It doesn't matter. If we've got a few good performances in there, or we've always had a good performance, we've never managed to get the 3 points, and we're not where we want to be, because it's on points, isn't it? It's on points, it's not on performance. I get where he's coming from. You've got to have a good performance, because normally, in a lot of games, a good performance means you're going to get the win, of course. But there's times where we can be phenomenal, we can be incredible, but not be ruthless, and then still, and then inevitably not win the game. And then we don't, and it is almost 2 points dropped. Is this 1 point? Is this a big point? Is this an important, significant point? I'd say definitely not. Is that 2 points dropped? I'd say it definitely is. And that's where we've got to be sat. And I think that we don't have to be. You have your opinion, of course. But that's where I'm sat. I'm sat in the position where, like Matthew said, it's a disappointing result. We've had chances. We had opportunities to win the game, but we didn't. And that's just where we are. Like I said, 73% possession, 25 shots, but still coming away with a draw. In that final third, that is slightly worrying. And that, again, is where we've got to sit here and go, that's got to be improved, that's got to be resolved, and you can improve that. The ruthless edge and that sort of taking the chances aspect of a football match and aspects of a team, that can be improved. That's not something that can't be changed and can't be resolved in the middle of a season. It's not like we've got a goalkeeper that can't catch a cold, and we've got no substitute goalkeeper to come into play, and we've got to wait till January to sign an emergency goalkeeper, and we can do nothing about it. It's not like that. We're not in a position where we need to, go and emergency bring someone in because we've got a hole in the squad. It's not like that. We've got the players. I believe we've got the quality. We just need to try and find that sort of that ruthless edge, and that can come with, with work, with training, with confidence, most importantly as well. Like Matthew said as well, this is definitely down to confidence. Matty Taylor scoring is down to confidence. It's not a glaring issue, a glaring hole. We need to, do something drastic and something, crazy that we can't do now, and we can't do the next week. We can't do between now and January. This isn't that sort of situation. This is a position where we've got clearly the players that can have that ruthless and clinical edge. Gavin White needs to get a goal as quickly as possible. Mark Sykes, did get a goal, but does need to get another goal as well. Matty Taylor did get his confidence boost, like Matthew said today as well. So of course that will come, and that can be worked on, but is a very, very important aspect of the game that does need to be resolved as quickly as possible. And I'm 100% behind everybody that thinks like that. Matt's definitely 2 points dropped today, and it is 2 points dropped. It's not a big significant point. This is a big significant point if we're playing Sunderland or Sheffield Wednesday, but even they're dropping points as well. Maybe not Sunderland, they look like they're probably going to win the league, but this is against a team, Gillingham, no disrespect to them, probably would have taken a point. Oxford needed to win today, and we weren't able to do so. We had the chances, we had the ball, we had the possession, but what are we going to do with it? Are we wasteful with possession? I'd probably argue we are a little bit. With 73% possession, what have we done with that? We've created 25 attempts where we've been able to have a shot. How many chances created have we made? That'll be something when we look at the stats, and I can bring that up for you right now. If I go over to this screen, I can bring that up for you now. We can break the game down in more statistic point of view as well. I've got a few more points I want to bring up behind the statistics, but we will bring it up here. Bang. And you can see here as well, the game's 1-1. This is sort of how the lineups looked at. And ultimately, you can look at the average ratings there as well. It does say that Oxford United had better average ratings. I probably would agree with that. Herbie Kane got man of the match, and we're going to touch on Herbie Kane in just a second, because I think I've got some really interesting points of view on him. But generally, look, you can see there, the way we played the 4-3-3, we knew that was going to be the case. And you can see that defensively, we looked very, very good. I'd have to agree defensively, we did look fairly solid. The goal for Gillingham, we haven't actually spoken about that. Alex McDonald, of course, ex-Oxford United player. It did actually come from not being closed down. He had a chance. If you can see my cursor here, a shot probably about here, probably where Alex Gorin was. The shot was about here, and no one was closing him down. And that's the issue we've got here. When you're going to allow a player of Alex McDonald's quality, we know he's got that quality, McDonald. You're going to let him have a shot from there, and it's going to go into that bottom left-hand corner. If no one's going to close him down, and no one's going to stop that shot, it's going to be a free shot on goal. And any shot on goal, like I said, with McDonald's quality, has a big chance of going in the net. And unfortunately for Oxford today, it did. Again, that can be stopped, and that's the annoying, again, part of the game as well. That those different aspects of the game can be stopped. They're the points that, where we look back and when they'll probably look and rewatch the game and analyse the game that can be stopped and that can be resolved. That game could be, and I think if we got another goal and we taken one of the chances, which we really should have done, and made it 2-1, we could have gone on and made it 3 or 4. But ultimately, they kept the game tight, as we Gillingham were going to do. They got the goal when they went down really early on in the game, and fair play to them. They stuck defensively solid. They went back and they defended, I'd say, really, really well. And bringing up those stats as well, you can see the statistics here. 73% possession. In that first half, we had, I believe, 70% possession. Exactly, yeah. And then the second half, again, we dominated even more in the second half. I thought we were better in the second half. I won't lie. I thought in the first half, even though we got the goal, I thought we were a little bit average at times. I think we were okay, but at times I thought we maybe fell short of a good performance. But I think in that second half, we definitely dominated. We definitely knocked on the door, and we just couldn't, we couldn't take our chances. We go back to the overall stats here: 25 shots. Only 7 on target, which again is a really interesting stat, to look at as well. We had 25 total shots, only 7 of which are actually on target, and that's going to be again something that Karl Robinson's going to have to look at and say, we had a few shots from outside the box. Cameron Brannigan did it, where I think Mark Sykes did it as well. It's fine to take shots, it's fine to have efforts from outside the box, but at least get them on target, at least test the goalkeeper. Otherwise, it may be worth passing it on and trying to carve out a chance in a different way. And there you go, exactly what I'm trying to say there. 15 shots off target. And you compare that again to Gillingham, 7 shots, 4 on target. They had more on target, definitely more on target compared to how many they had in total. Only 2 off target. We had more block shots as well. We had 12 corners. Again, we did not look great. I mean, I say we're better defending corners. I think we are set pieces. I think we are better at defending set pieces. Touch wood, hopefully. I'm not jinxing anything there. I don't really believe in that. But you know what I mean. We do look better at defending corners and defending set pieces, which is of course very, very good. However, we still don't look very, very threatening when we're attacking them either. 12 corners. I don't think there was one corner where I thought, that's a very, very good chance. Maybe one in the end by Billy Bowden, who maybe should have scored. But again, that wasn't directly from a corner. That wasn't a heading goal. Again, 12 offsides, 2 offsides are a bit irrelevant. They definitely had more fouls, but it was quite a close game when it comes to that. We had 4 big chances in the game and we've only scored 1. That's going to be something they're going to look at. 3 big chances missed as well. Again, of course, that other one would have been the goal. We've had more passes by over double passes. Better accuracy in passing as well. Not a great cross accuracy at all, but definitely not as bad as theirs. We lost possession of 149 times. We did beat them on duels as well. So you can see they're really, really interesting stats. You can see the league table here as well. We're currently sat in 13th. They stay in 19th. But again, look how tight that is. Wickham, who are in 6th place, are only 2 points away. We're only 2 points away from Wickham in 6th place. And we've drawn today. Those last 4 games haven't been good enough with no win in those last 4 games. We've then, of course, next got Accrington Stanley, who are looking pretty decent. They drew today, I believe 3-3 against Morecambe, and they're currently sat in 7th. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a massive game on Tuesday night. But looking at today's game, you can see those statistics. You can see what we're looking at there. And it's fascinating. It really, really is quite interesting to look at. And we are going to be in a position. We definitely are going to be in a position where you look at those and you think we really have got to sort things out, and we really have got to be better in those certain areas. But again, I come back to this same sort of feeling of it is 2 points dropped, and actually look at those stats. I didn't look at them as much as just then before I went live. It is quite worrying in that final third, and we did have those chances. We couldn't do it. Again, some crosses were very, very wayward at times. I think actually probably say throughout the game. One where Gavin White beat his man. I think he needs to beat his man and need to try at least attempt to run at his players. We know Gavin White has got an amazing ability when it comes to beating players. I think that sort of Cardiff thing a little bit. I think he's lost a bit of confidence when he went to Cardiff. Since we sold him to Cardiff, he used to take players on. I think he definitely has that ability still, but he needs to keep doing that because I really, really like Gavin White. I still think there's a great player in there, possesses great pace, great dribbling, great attributes, a great player, but he does need to try and find that sort of edge of trying to beat a player, take a man on, and see if he can carve out a chance in that way. He hasn't done enough, in my opinion, yet this season. That'll come. I believe in Gavin White can do that, but I still want to see more of it. I said I'd talk about Herbie Kane, and I will talk about Herbie Kane. He got man of the match today. For me, I don't think he was bad. I do not think he had a bad game. But I would say that ultimately it wasn't a great game from him. A lot of people, again, describing his performance as unbelievable and spectacular. In particular, it was the manager, Karl Robinson. We know he said very, very positive things about him before we signed him, fair enough, and he definitely hyped him up. I do think that slightly has hindered him a little bit, though. I do feel a little bit sorry for Herbie Kane in the sense that Karl Robinson has made him out to be not a better player than he is because we haven't seen enough of him yet. I want to see more of Herbie Kane on a reserve and hold my judgment on that. But he's coming with a lot of pressure. He's coming with a lot of speculation around, what sort of player he is. He's come in and he's championship quality with the words and, emergency board meetings, having to sell players to bring him in. We didn't have to do that and fair play to the board. All this different thing. And then at the same time, you just sort of feel a little bit sorry for him because, he's not 100% fit yet, apparently. But I don't see a championship player in that performance. I thought he was very, very good at times. He had moments of very, very good quality. I'm never doubting that. But I wouldn't say it's as unbelievable and breathtaking as some people are making out. He looked good at points and spread some really, really good passes. I'm not denying that whatsoever. But I still think Karl Robinson has got to take some responsibility for this sort of over-hyping, over-exciting in areas. Let's calm those expectations down slightly and let us surprise. Because he's got certainly a player in there that can surprise and definitely perform moments of magic. Because he's done that already this season. He's looked in those 2 games where he's done something where you think, okay, that is championship quality. But in a midfielder, we need to see consistency in what he does throughout a game of football. I haven't quite seen that yet. There is still moments where I go, I'm not quite sure about that. Let's hold judgment on Herbie Kane. Let's not go over the top. He got man of the match today. He's probably got, in my opinion, a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I'd go 7 because he did a very, very, it was a beautiful pass through to Matty Taylor. Great vision. But let's just calm down on this sort of over-excitement around a player in midfield that's joined on loan. And I like Herbie Kane. I think he's got some, got a play. There is a player in there. I don't doubt that. We've seen that before. We've seen that at Barnes. We've seen that at Liverpool before that. But I've got to be honest, let's not go overboard on him yet. Let's wait and see what happens because what I'm trying to say is, without going over the same thing over and over again, let's talk about a full 90 minutes of football. he wasn't spectacular over 90 minutes of football. That's all I'm saying. You can disagree with me, of course you can, and give your thoughts in the comments or in the live chat right now. I'm just giving my thoughts, as we go. That's just that, that again is just my opinion. But again, let's just not go overboard. Let's not get too excited. Let's see then. Let's see. The Karl Robinson interview was better. Really sort of touched on that. Better at set pieces. Right, this interesting one as well. This sort of Brannigan, Gavin White. And this may be the first time you've heard about this, because I actually only heard about this in the ground and actually slightly before kickoff. Maybe actually it was on the way to the game, and then I heard about it again in the ground. This sort of Goring versus Brannigan issue on the training field, or this sort of falling out we're hearing. They had a bit of a bust up in training, which we believe, we know we're not in training, we're not in every football team's training, we believe is quite common. It's a bit like an argument or a disagreement at school, or a bit of a disagreement at at work, because ultimately this is work, this is these players' work, and that there will be disagreements. Of course there will be. We've all had them. Maybe not to a footballing bust-up on the training field. We don't know, and I'm not going to sit here and speculate, and all we are doing is speculating. The club are never going to come out and say, and confirm anything, and probably the local media, local radio, anyone's going to come out and speculate this. But as fans, we can do that, and we're still looking to see it. Maybe something does come out, but I doubt it will. They both started today, they both played today. But that was very, very interesting. I don't know whether we'll find out more information, but there is murmurs and pretty much confidence that this did happen. That Brannigan and Goring, Alex Goring, did have a few issues off the field. Cameron Brannigan obviously didn't play last week for non-footballing reasons. Is it that? I don't know. Maybe it was a non-footballing injury. I don't exactly know. Maybe it was something more personal. Again, we are completely speculating and guessing. That is something I heard. I thought that would be relevant to bring up, because now when someone says that, you can see in the warm-up, you can see during the game a little bit. When when Goring maybe does a bit of a more wayward pass, Brannigan would normally go, let's look up a little bit and let's try and find something different. There was a little bit more anger, a little bit more frustration in him. Maybe again that's just sort of delving way too deep into it. Maybe I'm overthinking it slightly, and maybe my brain's going a little bit overdrive now I've heard that news. But it's interesting, and I really hope that does get resolved, because we don't want a bad atmosphere and a bad sort of morale around the club. Of course, we don't want that. We need players to be getting on and not getting on each other's backs. It's a team game. It's a sport where we need everyone to get along with each other. It needs to be a bit more family, and ultimately in family, in friends, in work, like I've already mentioned, these things happen. It's just about resolving it as human beings do. In the real world, you resolve an issue, hopefully as quickly as possible. Hopefully those two lads can do that, because they are very, very important players to us. But again, like I said, they both played today, and both of which I think look pretty decent. I've already mentioned Gavin White looking better. We've already mentioned Matthew brought up a really good point about other teams dropping points, but so are we. So we need to be pouncing on that and start winning these sort of games. Accrington, again, my final point will already be that we need to win on Tuesday now against Accrington. We really, really do. I've already spoken about the really two difficult away games after Accrington, following a week today against Sheffield, and then after that we've of course got Sunderland. So again, it's very, very important that we. That we really, really do. We do get get this win on Tuesday night. If we get a performance like that and we win the game, we're coming away saying that's a really, really, really positive game of football. Because I ultimately think the performance was good today, or fairly good today. Certainly not incredible or phenomenal, but good today. We just need to take our chances, and if we can start doing that, then I think we'll be in a much more positive place. But like Matthew says, a really, really good point. Again, of course, teams are dropping points around us, so that we do have that ability to sort of pounce on other things. If we can get some wins, we can really climb the table fairly quickly because of those other teams dropping points. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this match reaction. Oxford United drawing at home to Gillingham on this Saturday League One game. Hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly did enjoy the game, and I've really enjoyed chatting about it here as well. If you want to give your thoughts, you can give your thoughts in the comments. The comments will be open, and as always, like any video, I can watch that and watch those comments come through, and I can reply to them as well. What I'd also say as well, really, really important, tomorrow at 7 p.m, I'm going to be premiering. That's the word. I can't say it. We're going to be premiering we'll leave it at that. My documentary on a non-league football club. I went inside the 8th tier of English football, delving deep, interviewing players, managers. I watched a very, very interesting local derby in non-league, and it was all a very, very fascinating documentary coming out tomorrow here on the podcast at 7 p.m. You do not want to, don't want to miss it. Like I say, you don't want to watch it. You do want to watch it. Trust me, you do. If I don't say so myself, a really, really nice production, a fantastically fascinating episode of The Interview. But again, it is a documentary as such. Really, really exciting, exclusive to the podcast, so only you can watch it here on the podcast at 7 p.m. Like I said, it is on Premiere. It's set on Premiere, so you can watch it with me and we can talk about it. There's a live chat as it goes as well, and then of course it'll be up as a video as normal after that. But yeah, please, if you're interested in that sort of thing, it's really, really interesting. Something I've been working on for a long, long time, so I'd really appreciate if you could check it out. Because yeah, I really have been sort of working on this sort of production for quite a while, and for you people to get involved and watching it would be much, much appreciated. Anyway, enough of that. Subscribe, leave a like, all that good stuff as well. Hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss an episode of the podcast, live ones, videos, all that good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Jack. This has been the Young Fan Podcast. It's been a live match reaction, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care.